What's going on, everybody? What's up, Los Angeles? Welcome in. Immediate reaction here. LA Football Live. I'm Ryan Dyrud. It's been a good day. Chargers win. Rams win. UCLA gets their bowl bid to the Holiday Bowl in beautiful San Diego, California. Going to talk about it all. So we'll wait. We'll get some folks in here, and then we'll get rolling. Any questions you have, thoughts, concerns about either game, let me know. Let's just talk through. It won't be super long. Just wanted this to be immediate. It won't be super in depth. We'll do more throughout the week. You know how it works. LA Football Network, we got you covered all week long. All of our shows. I do my own show, the LA Football Show. We do Charters Unleashed with Dan and Jake. We got the Rams brothers, my guys Dean and Nick. We got Bruin Bible with my guy Will. We're adding a Trojans only podcast here in the next few weeks with a former Trojans player. Super excited about that. So, yeah, a lot of good stuff for you all week. But I wanted to jump on here, give some immediate reactions to what we just saw. So those tuning in, I think we'll start with the Rams game since that just finished up, and we'll get into the Chargers game after that, and then end with just the Bruins news. Won't touch much on it, but just the fact they're going to the Holiday Bowl. Let me know what you guys think of this. I really want to start doing some more recaps immediately after. I know a lot of guys do it. You know, I know there's a lot of content out there right now, which is great. It's great for those teams that we're starting to see more LA football content. But, I know as far as, live YouTube stuff afterwards, I know, Guilty as Charged always does one, which they do a phenomenal job. Steven, works with us here at the LA Football Network. So, good buddies with him. I know Jake Ellenbogen does one for the Rams. So, don't want to conflict if you want to watch both. But, I just want to get my thoughts and let me know, though, if you would like to see me do separate, like do a Chargers one for 15 minutes, take a break, do a Rams one for 15 minutes, or if you like the platform of having it all kind of in one, getting tidbits from each. Still, we're 12 weeks in, but I'm still kind of testing out what I think works best. Because like I said, we have the team-specific shows on this network that you get just your only Charger stuff on Chargers Unleashed, the only Ram stuff on Rams Brothers. And so I kind of wanted to be able to give you an umbrella of all of it. But if you enjoy listening to me and you'd rather just, hey, I just want to listen to you talk Rams, I can separate them. No sure. Chargers game, usually this season, we've been kind of lucky. It seems like 9 out of 10 times we get one game in the morning, one game in the afternoon, just because they're not both going to play at home on the same day. And so usually they're traveling. So I think we've had 2 or 3 games where they both play at 1 o'clock, which is very hard to cover both teams when they're both playing at the same time. And so I can't, doing a recap, it's going to be same time probably anyway. But hey, if Chargers played at 10 today, I could jump on right after for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, break that down. And then the Rams game just ended, I could do that too. So let me know what you think. Curious. Let me know what you're drinking. Our good friends at Golden Road. If you haven't had this Golden Road Golden State Cerveza, it's fantastic. It's their version of like a Mexican lager. It's delicious. So let me know what you're drinking out there. Celebrating these wins. Rams, let's get into it. So Rams win 37-7. If you listen to any of my pregame stuff throughout the week, I actually predicted 41-10. I think it wasn't too far off. Needed a couple safeties there at the end, but we'll take it. Lot to get into for this, but I think one thing I really want to say up the top, I get this is the Jaguars. I get they're a 2-win team. I get they're in full rebuild. I get Urban Meyer probably wouldn't be their coach next year. But it's still the NFL. There's still guys paid to play football. And when you can go out and outside of a few special teams plays and probably we'll call it 2 drives, one on offense, one on defense, this was a dominant performance by the Los Angeles Rams. Pretty much from start to finish. I mean, you only give up 7 points, like I said, in that one drive, and that drive was aided by some bad penalties. I saw even after that drive, Jaguars scored. I saw the Fire Raheem tweets coming out. I'm like, come on, guys. You get a bad taunting penalty from Jalen Ramsey. You get a defensive hold directly after that, and they score after that. I'm sorry. That's not on the defensive coordinator. These are big boys. These are adults. And the taunting, as much as it's the stupidest penalty out there, the dumbest rule. I get the behind what they're wanting to do with it. I think if they're going to address that in the offseason, you don't need to necessarily pull the rule, but you need to add some stipulations or make it a case by case basis. Like put it in the ref's hands. Like, hey, if it seems egregious, throw the flag. If not, don't. Because they're trying to make it so, stuff that we saw back in the day. I don't even want to call it showboating, but like true taunting, where it's like, okay, we don't need that. But some smack talk, a little bit of showboating does no harm for the game. Our kids see way worse. I know everyone's like, I want my clean it up for the kids. Come on, get out of here. But anyway, that being said, it's a whole nother discussion. The rule is the rule. The players know the rule. Jalen Ramsey made a great play, made a tackle, and then the ref is literally 4 feet from him as he's talking shit to the Jaguars player. Didn't do anything physically. I know people out there are like, what? How's that a call? But it's what he said. He was saying things to him. I'm sure not very, everyone knows Jalen Ramsey, one of the biggest trash talkers in the game. It's dumb, but you know the rule. Jaywalking is a stupid law. Why should I get a ticket if I jaywalk if there's no cars coming? But it's the rule. We all know it. Just follow it. So that's a lot. That's all I'm going to get into that. I think it's dumb, but it is the rule. It is what it is. Players know it. These are adults getting paid a lot of money to play a game. You abide by the rule. It's stupid, but do what you got to do. So anyway, so that was the one drive. Really, that was the only blemish on the defense all day. Defense balled out. Greg Gaines, phenomenal game. Greg Gaines has stepped up big time since Sebastian Joseph Day went down, and you love to see it. You love to see it. I think he's just played phenomenal, and he's a guy that drafted in the 4th round out of Washington. There was a lot of, I don't know if you can say a ton of hype, 4th round pick, but there was definitely like some excitement. Big bodied guy, played in a program that also produced, Vita Vea, who was a 1st round pick, much more dominant, but Greg Gaines played that same nose, big body. And so we were hoping to see more of him in the rotation. You hate to see a guy like Sebastian Joseph go down with injury, but sometimes those injuries breed opportunity for other players. And Greg Gaines has seized that opportunity. And he's played fantastic. He played great again today. Aaron Donald showed up today, which, he shows up every day, but sometimes on the stat sheet. Today showed up in the stat sheet. Guy gets held on every play. There was a sequence where he gets the play before there's a holding call on, who was it? It was a Rams corner. Pretty ticky-tack hole. I guess I get it. He had a little tug when the receiver was going, but pretty ticky-tack. On that same play, so it was the same play. Sorry, not the play before. The same play, it was Aaron Donald got a sack with one arm while being held across his neck, but they called holding on the Rams DB. That's just the life Aaron Donald has to live with, unfortunately. He still makes plays. I thought Von Miller played well. Saw him in the backfield a lot, which is something I knew we were going to see his production increase with more reps in this defense with these players. So I knew that was something that was coming, and it was just a matter of time. And I think he put on a good day. I don't think really put a stat out there actually. I was hoping to get 2 sacks or so. I think a sack and a half was the over under for him, and I was hoping to get over that. But I don't think he actually registered a sack or tackle. But I'll get into the film more. But definitely, I think had pressures. Definitely, forced plays away from him. Set the edge really well. We saw him drop back in a zone coverage and almost had an interception. So I had a PBU right there. So I thought he played well. Ernest Jones, super excited about his development. Rookie linebackers, I think, played really well. Did a lot of one-backer sets today, which might have mixed emotions on people out there. But I am excited about that because we talked about it last week after the Packer game when guys like Troy Readers are getting burned in zone coverage against running backs and receivers. And I kept saying, well, that's not Troy Reader's game. Don't do him a disservice by putting him in zone or man coverage because that's not what he's good at. He's good at stopping the run and being close. You need to utilize, and we don't really have a backer on this roster that can do that. We don't have a Corey Littleton that can go side to sideline right now. Even Ernest Jones, who I think is going to be really good, is a more traditional backer. He's not your speed cover sideline to sideline. I think he's getting better, but he's not a coverage backer. So I said, go to one backer scheme, utilize your defensive backs, the depth you have. And they did a lot more of that today. We saw Nick Scott a lot more deep, Taylor Rapp close to the box. So you use those DBs in those sets. Still want to see Terrell Burtis out there, but hey, at least we're seeing some changes made, some stuff changing. And it's the Jaguars, I know, but they do have talent on the roster. Trevor Lawrence, first overall pick, was basically proclaimed as the next Andrew Luck unfairly. James Robinson is a young, exciting running back. Marvin Jones, Laviska Shenault have talent on the outside. So it's not like they have nobody. Rams obviously have a lot more and a lot better talent, so they should be able to stifle them. But you still have to go out and do it, and they did it. Offensively, we finally saw what this offense looks like again in a rhythm. I know it's the Jags. I'm going to repeat that this whole segment. I get it, but we saw it. They start off 2 drives with points, then they punt, and they get points again after that. Slow down a little bit at the end of the second, come out in the third quarter, and then it was like game over. Points on every drive. Cooper Kupp, best receiver in the game, another 100-yard game. I have him on my fantasy team, so obviously I'm watching him closely anyway. But through that first quarter, I think he had 0 catches. And I was like, oh man, of course, of all games, going against the Jags, need you in this one as a home stretch, and you're going to get me 0. No, finishes with 8 for 129 and a touchdown. So, dude's a baller, comes up big when you need him. Stafford played a solid game. Still kind of looked a little shaky in the beginning, which is something that is disappointing because it was something we saw early in the season, and we would hope those kinks would get worked out. But, he corrected it, finished 26 for 38, 295 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks, which is the big stat there. No pick sixes or no picks of any kind. So that's good. That's what you want to see. And the biggest, I think, good thing, and obviously you can do this when you're winning the entire game, jump out to a 3-0 lead, and they never relinquish the lead from that. Sony Michel with 24 carries, 121 yards, and a touchdown for 5-yard per carry average. This was a topic among many Rams bloggers and podcasters all week, and I'm curious your guys' thoughts. If you're in here live, drop a comment, or if you're listening afterwards, just drop a comment in the comment section, and I'll respond to it there. Or you can hit me up on Twitter at Ryan Dyrud, LAFB. Darrell Henderson is a guy that I've said all along, I don't believe he's suited to be the bell cow back. He was drafted in the 3rd round. Todd Gurley was still here. He was drafted, in my opinion, to be a complimentary back. His role at Memphis was a complimentary back, a slasher type runner that averaged 9 yards a carry, because situationally, when he came in, he could burn guys and he could use his speed to break out and have big gains. He was never a 25 carry bell cow back. That's not what he did at Memphis. And I don't think that's why he was drafted. I knew that the front office probably knew there was some stuff going on with Gurley at the time, but he was not drafted to supplant Todd Gurley, which is why the very next season, after Todd Gurley is released, they draft Cam Akers in the 2nd round, because they knew Darrell Henderson was not meant to be the bell cow back. He was a great RB2 change of pace complimentary back. Well, then Cam Akers goes down. What's your coach going to say? Come out and say, no, we don't have faith in Darrell Henderson. No, he's going to say, yeah, we have all the faith in the world. Everyone's like, yeah, see how much Sean McVay loves him, believes in him. But then they still go trade 2 picks for Sony Michel. At the time, it was thought as to complement each other because they didn't have a ton of depth. They had a rookie in Jake Funk. And I think Sean McVay wanted to have Darrell as the guy. And we've talked a lot through the season. Sometimes they just have abandoned the run. That's not Darrell's fault. Sean's very quick to pull the trigger on the running game. That's no secret. But at other times, when you watch the actual game, not look at the stat sheet where it's like, okay, he's averaging whatever it is, 6 yards per carry, which is great. But he's also not explosive. He also is poor in breaking tackles. We can go on the stats if you want, but just watching the game, it seemed like every time he was in the game, he'd have a few good runs and he'd have to come out and he'd miss the next few series. And it's not like it's speculation like, oh man, why is Sean not putting him back out there? You would hear reports. Henderson banged up, questionable to return, or tweaked something, taking a few series off. It seemed like every game there was these little nicks that would keep him out a few series. Well, you can't have faith in your bell cow back if you know he's going to get nicked up after 2 carries, unfortunately. And again, he missed this game because he was injured. or didn't play because he was injured. I think he was actually suited, but got 0 carries. So we saw them go full with Sony Michel. Looked pretty dang good. 25 carries, 24 carries, 121 yards. Not bad. You lose your center in the first possession, first series. Throw in Coleman Shelton. Still gain 121 yards on the ground. That's pretty solid. That's good running. We saw hard running from Sony. We saw him break tackles. So that's something good that we want for the rest of the season, because I know everyone wants to debate Sony versus Darrell Henderson, who's better, who's not. This is a type of game that's good for Darrell Henderson, because then he can get back to being the complementary back that can come in, have 10 carries for 60 yards, and be explosive, and not have to worry about being the guy and then getting nicked up. You can just trot him out there on a 2nd and 3, and he can break one for 20. That's what we want. And then people will say, well, look at his average yards. He should be the starter. No, his yards per carry are that great because of the role he is in, because of the role they've built for him. So a game like this from Sony Michel bodes very well for this team down the stretch. Bodes very well. So great game win for the Rams. I've already probably talked about it too long. Let's get on to the Charger game. But I'm going to talk about it obviously much more. We'll get some guests in here next week, help break it down, and go from there. Chargers game now. You could not have asked. Oh, let me say real quick before I get into that, anyone listening live, 30 seconds left in the Seahawks and Niners game. It is 2nd and goal for the Niners on the Seattle 4 with 27 seconds, losing by 7. Wow. Seattle winning this would be huge. That would drop the Niners to 6-6. Seattle's basically done. They're 3-8, so they'd move to 4-8. Not worried about that. This would be a huge win if Seattle can get a goal line stand here. I'll try to keep you posted on that. So like I said, 2nd and goal from the Seattle 4 with 27 seconds left. We'll see what happens there. Chargers game, though. Started off great, 24-0. Couldn't have had a better start. Could not have had a better start. Then you give up 16 straight, or 22 straight, excuse me. Bring it to 24-22. People start sweating. Here we go again. What's going on with the Chargers? We're back to, chargering this game away. Not so fast, my friend, because this team is different. I know there's been some what's the word I'm looking for? Some remnants of past Chargers teams. And we saw that today a little bit, where they jump off to an early lead, then things start going awry. Offense can't do anything. Defense can't stop them. Bad turnovers. Austin Eckler had 2 fumbles. Justin Herbert had a pick. It ended up being like a punt, so I wasn't too upset with that at all on a 3rd down. Tweeted out during the game, this Bengals offense is potent. They can score in bunches, and the last thing you want to do is turn the ball over to him on a short field. And the Chargers did that twice. Like I said, the 3rd one for Herbert was a long punt that put them on the 11-yard line. So wasn't too worried about that one. But the 2 fumbles they cashed in on. So thought, okay, here we go again. But then 4th quarter came around, and the Chargers kicked it into gear. Defense buckled down, didn't give up another point, and the offense pulled away, finishing with 41. I mean, that's great. That's I think, a testament to this team in general, the culture that's being built, that when the going gets tough, and not every game, obviously, they're a 7-5 team. They have 5 losses. But overall, I think when the going gets tough, they do have 7 wins, 2 more than they do losses. They've been able to rebound, get back on track, and do what they're capable of doing. So it's a testament to the culture they're building. It's a testament to the coaching staff, the preparation that they give these guys, but also in-game adjustments that they're able to do offensively and defensively. Defensively, thought played great in the beginning of the game, forcing some turnovers. Had some struggles there in the middle. Part of it was also they were given short fields, but did have some struggles as well. And then played great at the end of the game. Locked it down. That's coaching. That's will. That's culture. Thought Herbert had a fine game. Missed some throws, but overall great. 26 of 35 for 317 and 3 touchdowns. Not mad at that stat line. Did have the one pick, like I said, basically a punt. Not mad about that at all. Just to update you, looks like the Niners, did they throw a pick? The game's over. So Seattle wins 30-23. Huge win for the Rams. That's big. Because now the Niners, who were right on their heels, drop to 6-6. And the Rams are 8-4 now. So that is a big win for the Seattle Seahawks. So, hey, hard to root for the Seahawks, but it's even harder to root for the Niners. So that's a thank you, Seahawks there. Anyway, so back to this Chargers game. So, yeah, I thought Herbert overall played well. Missed some throws, like I said. I think one that I was not, you hate to be nitpicky. The guy's great, but early on in the game, which they ended up getting a touchdown anyway, going for it on 4th down, finding Keenan Allen over the middle with a dart. But before that play, you had Donald Parham to the left, kind of basically doing lined up on the line of scrimmage, and he's doing like an out, just a soft fading out kind of to the corner of the end zone. Pretty much wide open, depending. And a lot of like people look at it and say, okay, well, what's this read here? Is it a read route, or was it designed as a jump ball route? Because it could be a number of different things. But if Herbert would have thrown it to his backside shoulder, could have just thrown a normal pass, didn't have to air it out, nothing, wide open, easy touchdown. He ends up basically throwing it to the back corner like a fade route, which is, makes sense. Donald Parham's 6'9", but throws a fade back there, which leads him right into where the corner or the safety is playing. Parham kind of misjudges it also, ends up being a completion. If he would have just thrown on his back shoulder, touchdown, easy 6. No question about it. There's no one around him. So that was one pass that got away with him, but made up for it with the 4th down conversion for the touchdown. So I thought Herbert overall had a really solid game. Man, there is like, I don't know if it's my headphones or what. I'm going to take these off because there's just buzzing going on in my ears, and I have no idea why. But anyway, no one's on here, so I don't need those anyway. But yeah, so, we talked about Austin Eckler with 2 costly fumbles, and I know a lot of people will look at that, and rightfully so, and say he had a bad game. And, overall, did have 59 yards on the ground on 14 carries with a touchdown, also 45 yards through the air, so another 100-yard game for him in totality. It's unfortunate because those fumbles were costly. They gave up points to the Bengals. And I think one of them, the first one was definitely on Eckler. Like, you got to control that as you're going to the ground. Some guys are going to be grabbing at you. You play the running back position long enough, so that's on him. The second one, it's always on the player anyway, because if you fumble, it's on you. But the second one is less egregious. It was a boom, bang play, right? Bang, bang play. He gets the pass over the middle on a crosser. As he's turning his head back around, gets hit right away. Helmet is right on the ball. Bengals helmet's right on the ball. It's a great tackle. It's almost impossible to hang on to that. It's just unfortunate. It's still on him because it's his play to make, but it wasn't like a egregious fumble. It was just a great play by the defenseman. Timed it perfectly. Helmet on the ball. We'll just give hats off to the Bengals defenseman there. People could argue that it wasn't a catch because it was so quick, so bang, bang. But he did get his 2 steps in. I think you could say he made a football move by turning up field, even though his head was barely swiveled around. But, it is what it is. It cost the Chargers at the time, brought the Bengals back close, but it didn't cost them overall in the game. And they were able to, like I said, rebound and get back on track. Defensively, Joey Bosa goes out early with a head injury. Just heard a few minutes ago that it's not a concussion. So I'm not exactly sure what a head injury would be that's not a concussion. But Brandon Staley did say in his press conference that he had been cleared actually to come back in in that game, but they decided to play it safe because he did have concussions last season, and decided to play it safe and keep him out, which I actually respect the hell out of that. If not only the NFL, but if coaches are going to preach that they care about their players and their health, there's no better way to prove that than that. Guy gets a little head trauma. He does get cleared, and he says, you know what? Take the rest of the day off. We trust our guys, Uchenna Nwosu, Kyler Fackrell, Chris Rumph, first career sack. Hats off to him. Chris Rumph actually was the guy that took his place because Fackrell and Uchenna usually rotate on that other side. I just think that's great. I think that's a player's coach right there that says, you know what? We need you, of course. You're the star of this defense, but your health is more important. And I'm not taking any chances on putting you back in too soon, especially with your head, that could cause any long-term damage. And so I trust the guys that we've rolled with after you for this period of time. Rest up. Let's go make it happen. And then that puts faith in those guys too, saying, all right, Joey's good. He got cleared to come back in, but coach is putting the trust in us. Let's go out and get a W. Let's go out and make it happen. And they did. Chris Rumph gets his first career sack. Uchenna Nwosu was all over the field. Uchenna Nwosu maybe had his best game since that Baltimore playoff game in 2018. I mean, statistically, 2 tackles, 2 sacks, which is great. 2 sacks is great. But he was everywhere. I mean, he was, again, I'll look into it more throughout the week, what his actual total pressures were. But he was wreaking havoc. And these are games where you make money. In a contract year, these are games to say, okay, well, when we needed him, he stepped up. And if we can get that production from him every play, every game with a healthy Joey Bosa, here's a guy we can give a contract to. Former Trojan, fight on. Those are guys we want to keep around here in LA. Former Bruins and Trojans, we want to keep them right here at home. So big hats off to Uchenna. Big hats off to Chris Rumph, first career sack. Guys on the back end stepped up. Chris Harris Jr. with a big interception in the end zone as the Bengals are driving to make it close again. He seals it with an interception in the end zone. Derwin James. We don't need to talk much about him. Another great game. I did love there was a play on a third down. Staley dialed up a dual safety blitz. It'd be like one of those in Madden where you get you're looking for your play call on defense, and it's man coverage with an 8-man blitz essentially. That's what he did. Nas from the left, Derwin from the right, and they both come crashing in and both get in on the quarterback and bring down Joe Burrow. So I love that play call. I thought overall it was a great game plan from both sides. I thought defensively, Staley called a great game. Getting guys, we saw a great rotation on the defensive line, which I think is what's going to benefit Jerry Tillery anyway. If he doesn't have to be there on every single snap, if you can utilize him in NASCAR packages, in third and long situations, first down, and then get him a breather, bring him back out, that's what's going to benefit him anyway. So then having guys like, Christian Covington play well. Having guys, Justin Jones, another whale of a game, did get injured as well in this one, though. Hadden Braden Fihoko play well. So it's Joe Gaziano also getting in there. It just behooves, I think, them all to have that rotation. And then you're going to get Linval Joseph back soon, still in the COVID protocol. Hopefully his health is most important, but he's going to be back soon too. So if you keep that rotation, I mean, Linval and Justin, I think are your 2 main guys there with Jerry on the outside, but keep that rotation, keep them fresh and healthy. It bodes well for everyone. So I like that game plan on defense, the way they were doing it. I thought the offensive play calling was great. I know they had some stagnant stuff there at some point, but overall, I thought it was great. We saw great explosive plays, 2 deep shots I can think off the top of my head. One early on the first drive to Mike Williams, and then another almost touchdown to Jalen Guyton that he brought down to the 1-yard line. Jalen Guyton had a great game too. I hadn't mentioned him. Jalen Guyton had a really good game. Really productive, really efficient. Finishing with 4 catches, 90 yards, and a touchdown. And he had that deep pass, but he had some short stuff too, which is what we've always known. Guyton was a deep threat, but could he be more involved in, everyday plays, I like to call them. And he was today. So overall, this is a great team win. You know, you hate to see the little lapse there in the middle, but the Bengals are a good team. They're going to be in the playoffs. They were a 7-5 team, now dropped to 7-6. Or were they 7-4? Now they dropped to 7-5, I think. Yeah, they were 7-4. So both these teams are 7-5. It's a good team. Yeah, I mean, you can't expect to blow every team out, guys. Any fans out there listening, you're going to get tested in the NFL. It's hard. It's 60 minutes. That's why you play all 60 minutes. Stuff happens. It's about how you rebound, how you come back from it, how you build upon it, how you adjust, and how you finish. Chargers did that. So, great day in LA. Chargers moved to 7-5. Rams moved to 8-4. And we're in the home stretch now. December ball, baby. Doesn't get any better than this. 2 games in January this year, or 3 games in January this year. No, 2 games, I think. We got the 2nd and the 9th are the 2 main games. So we still got, what are we at? 12 games. So we got 5 games left. Home stretch, baby. Home stretch. Want to see both these teams in the playoffs, and I think they're fully capable. Right now, they both are in the playoffs. So let's just keep stacking wins week by week. Go 1-0 next week. Have a lot of fun with it. So before I wrap up, thanks everyone for jumping in. Let's talk about UCLA Holiday Bowl. They get the Holiday Bowl, which we kind of expected that to happen. Was hoping they'd get Clemson. Thought that'd be huge. It'd just be fun. Dabo Sweeney coming down here. Get to play Clemson. DJ Uguala. I know I said that wrong, but former St. John Bosco quarterback returning to the Southern California area. But they don't get Clemson. So then I was like, okay. They weren't going to get Pitt because Pitt won the ACC. I was like, okay, probably Wake Forest would be a good one. They ended up getting NC State, which, was it as enticing as a draw as I would have wanted. But they did finish 2nd in the ACC Atlantic. How bizarre is this? This is what I don't get. So almost every conference now is split into 2 because they're big enough. The Big 12 is the only one that's not that I can think of. But the SEC, the Big 10, the Pac-12, and the ACC all have 2 divisions, and then it's 1 conference, obviously. So the Atlantic Coast Conference split into 2 is the Atlantic Division and the Coastal Division. Already makes no sense to me. I mean, aren't those both like on the waterline? So I already don't get that. But then usually you would think you kind of split it like geographically. Like the Pac-12 you have the Pac-12 North, which basically is split at the NorCal line. No, split before NorCal. Or yeah, split right below NorCal. So, your Stanford, your Cals are in the Pac-12 North, and then obviously the Oregon and Washington teams. And your Pac-12 South, which has all the Southern California teams, the Arizona teams, Colorado, and Utah. Geographically makes sense. SEC is the SEC East, SEC West. Geographically it makes sense. The Atlantic and you have Florida State and Syracuse in the same division. And then in the Coastal, you put Miami and Pittsburgh. I'm off topic, but that's just weird to me. Why not have Pittsburgh, Boston College, Syracuse in one, and then put like your Florida States, your Miamis in another one? I don't know. Just weird to me. But anyway, NC State finishes 2nd in the Atlantic. They do rank out at 18th overall. So this is a good game for the Bruins. It's a good test for them. And we'll get into it all week, or all leading up to it. It's on the 28th, I believe, of December is when the game will be. But it should be a fun matchup. Test their mettle. I think it's a chance for them to, if they win this game, they finish the season 5-0, have a lot of momentum going into the new year, going into the new college season, into the recruiting cycle. Gives Chip Kelly a lot of ammo, I think, finishing 5-0 and with a big bowl win. So it'll be a big game that we'll get into. I'll try to dissect a little bit what NC State does. Because honestly, I don't know much about them at all. Haven't watched much NC State football leading up to this. So, but should be a good test for them. One thing that's interesting before I get off here, all the rumors swirling about Mario Cristobal up in Oregon, going back to his alma mater, his hometown of Miami. And it just came out. I don't know if this is confirmed or not, but just saw that Miami has given him a Monday deadline to make his decision. How terrible is this? Basically, they told him, you have till Monday to decide if we want you, but if you decide not to, then we're going to retain Manny Diaz as our coach. Like, does that suck for Manny Diaz? Just a sitting duck, like, okay, well, I got all the wind out of my sails. Like, I guess I'm here if he doesn't want it, or I'm out of a job. Anyway, if he takes it, now Oregon is open. The premium at this point, the premium school program in the Pac-12. You could argue Utah's in that echelon too, but it's Utah's going to their first Rose Bowl. Oregon's won quite a few in these last decades. The Oregon's a premium school, that job would now be open. I've seen some people saying, well, what if Chip Kelly goes back to Oregon? I don't see that happening. No shot. I think Chip Kelly's happy being at UCLA. I think he wants to see this thing through. It's his fourth year, first winning season, first bowl appearance, keep stacking bricks and building. B, I don't think Oregon is going to hire a retread. And that's not disrespect to Kelly, but I think they will not just go basically groveling, saying, please come back to us. I know you left us for the NFL, but we want you back. I can't see that at all. So Oregon will go after some probably hot shot coordinator. Again, I don't know if Mario Cristobal is going to leave. If he does leave, it's simply for the fact that it's his alma mater. So I think Oregon's a better job than Miami, in my opinion, right now. In today's current NCAA landscape, I think Oregon's a better job. You got the Nike headquarters right there. What they've built at Oregon, they're good every single year. They're the premium school in the Pac-12. Miami, you're rebuilding from the studs. I know the history is there, but I mean, it's not like SC where it hasn't been good, but the history is there. And so you kind of lean on that history to rebuild. You also, USC is the premium school in like the southern western area. Miami, you have SEC country not far away. You have Florida, you have Florida State in the same state. So, I mean, it's a lot more to rebuild that, whereas SC has a much quicker path to rebuilding greatness, I think. So that's why I think Oregon's a better job anyway. It's my opinion. Debate me on it. I know many people would disagree, but I think it is. But let's say he does go. So I think they would take one of those premier coordinators, or they would go after a Matt Campbell. Matt Campbell, I think, would be a great fit for Oregon. Keep forgetting about him. Everyone at the end of the year was saying, probably coach his last game at Iowa State. He's going to go get one of these big jobs, but they're all gone now. Like what's still open? Now Oklahoma's saying, they've kind of zeroed in on Brett Venables, the DC from Clemson. So that's another job probably gone. Baylor has Aranda, which Oregon could also go after him. I mean, Oregon's a better program than Iowa State and Baylor, for sure. So I think those would be their top two candidates, I would assume. Or some young coordinator. Or go get a Matt Campbell or Aranda and then go get Joe Brady as your OC, who was just fired by the Panthers. So I don't really think Mario Cristobal's leaving, but we'll see. Last thing about UCLA I want to touch on quick. Rumors about Spencer Rattler. Keep seeing all these linked rumors that he has entered the transfer portal from Oklahoma. It's a slam dunk fit for UCLA. I disagree. Chip Kelly, the way he runs his team, he wants team first guys. He puts team first and character over talent, especially at the quarterback position. DTR, say what you want about him, but that dude's a team first guy. Like, he's a high character team first guy. People I know out there maybe question his durability or his mental toughness or whatnot, but the dude is a team first guy. Like, you can't argue that. He's a good stand-up teammate, puts his team first. Spencer Rattler's not that guy. Spencer Rattler maybe has matured some, but he is not I wouldn't say, just from the stuff I've seen, a team first guy. And I just can't see that being a fit here in UCLA. And I also think if DTR doesn't come back, which there's still that option too, I think they're really excited about what Chase Garbers can do. Or Ethan Garbers, excuse me. I think they're really excited about that, the prospect of Ethan Garbers. So, if Spencer were to transfer here, I would think Garbers would probably enter the transfer portal. So anyway, I don't see that happening. We'll see. We'll keep it close contact on it. We'll let you know here at the LA Football Network. But yeah, that's it. Immediate reaction. 40 minutes. Probably planned for it to be 20, but hey, once I get talking ball, I'll get talking ball. Appreciate all you guys that tuned in. We'll have plenty more throughout the week. Again, let me know thoughts on this platform. If you'd rather me break it up, do a separate episode per team, or if you like the kind of long form, break it down, all LA football on one show. we'll see. So check out our new sponsor, TickPick. If you're needing to buy tickets, it's a premium, ticket agency. There's no fees. It's an easy sell. StubHub, Ticketmaster, all those ones have fees. I mean, you're paying extra $20-$40 if you're getting 2 tickets. TickPick, none. I've looked at it for the last 3 weeks. The prices are pretty much exactly the same. They're all comparable, but you end up saving $40 because you're not paying the fees. So if you go to LAFBnetwork.com, right in our menu, there's a TickPick link. Click that, or I will put the link in the description below this as well. So check that out. If you need, Chargers tickets next week, Rams tickets, if you're buying UCLA tickets for the Holiday Bowl, go through our link, and you get we'll enter you in some stuff as well. So should be a lot of fun these next few weeks. But thank you all for tuning in. I'm your host, Ryan Dyrud. This is the LA Football Show, LAFB Live. Enjoy the rest of your Sundays. Peace.